The courthouse steps thrummed with chaos. Reporters elbowing for position, cameras flashing like a paparazzi storm. A black limousine, sleek as a panther, cut through the crowd, its tinted windows hiding a secret that had the city buzzing. The door swung open, and a woman emerged, her beige silk gown glowing like a beacon, her heels striking the pavement with the precision of a war drum. The crowd parted, breathless, as a man's voice broke the silence, raw with panic. Wendy, what the hell is this? She didn't turn, her face a mask of calm fury, her eyes promising a reckoning. Was she here to end a marriage or to torch an empire? The question hung heavy, and the world leaned in, waiting for her to answer. Wendy stood in the kitchen of her upscale city loft, a space straight out of an Instagram mood board, white subway tiles, brass fixtures, a farmhouse sink stacked with dishes she'd scrubbed for tonight. She adjusted the navy dress hugging her frame, the one Alex once said made her look like a starry night. The table was a work of art, seared salmon drizzled with dill sauce, roasted asparagus, a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon breathing beside two crystal glasses. She'd poured her heart into this dinner, a quiet prayer for their 10th anniversary. The clock above the stove ticked past 8:30 p.m. Alex had sworn he'd be home by 7. Her phone vibrated on the counter. A text from her sister, Laura, lighting up the screen. Tell me he's spoiling you rotten tonight. Wendy's fingers hovered, a lump rising in her throat. She typed, his caught up at work, and hit send, the lie bitter on her tongue. Easier to fake it than admit she was alone, waiting in a loft that felt more like a showroom than a home. Her eyes flicked to the candles, their flames wavering, casting shadows on the walls. The hope she'd clung to all day was flickering too, threatening to gut her out. She drifted to the living room, the polished hardwood cool under her bare feet, and paused at Alex's briefcase, left unzipped on the velvet sofa. A glint caught her eye, a hotel keycard, its silver logo embossed with the name of a trendy downtown spot they hadn't visited since their dating days. Her pulse quickened, a warning she pushed down. Not now, she told herself, sliding the card back into the pocket, her fingers brushing a faint smudge of pink on the inner lining lipstick, glossy and unmistakable. She froze, her breath shallow, then forced herself back to the kitchen, smoothing her dress as if it could iron out the dread pooling in her chest. The salmon was cold now, the Cabernet too warm. Wendy sank into a chair, her fingers tracing the stem of an empty glass. She wasn't blind. Alex's late nights, his curt texts, the way his smiles had turned perfunctory hadn't escaped her. But love was a stubborn anchor, chaining her to memories of better days. Maybe he was stuck in a meeting. Maybe he'd walk in with that lopsided grin, a handful of roses, and a story about a client who wouldn't shut up. Maybe the key card was for a work event, the lipstick a careless brush from a colleague. Maybe her phone buzzed again. Laura. You good? Sis, call me if you need me. Wendy ignored it, her gaze fixed on the table, the untouched plates mocking her. The loft, once filled with their laughter. Alex twirling her to jazz records, promising forever felt hollow, a stage set for a scene that never started. She closed her eyes, picturing their first anniversary, a picnic in the park, Alex feeding her strawberries, his eyes soft with promises. Where was that man now? At 10:03 p.m., the front door clicked open. Wendy didn't stir. She heard Alex's footsteps, heavy and careless, his keys jingling as they hit the entry table. He didn't call out, didn't notice the candles or the dinner. Rough day, he mumbled, passing the kitchen doorway, his silhouette framed by the dim light, a whiff of cologne not his usual pine, but something sharp and citrusy, hit her like a slap. Her eyes locked on his collar, a pink smudge, the same glossy shade as the one in his briefcase. Alex, she said, her voice soft but steady, cutting through the silence. He stopped, half turning, his face shadowed. Where were you? Client drinks ran late, he said, his tone flat, eyes avoiding hers. Lost track of time. He tugged at his tie, the key card shifting slightly in his jacket pocket, unnoticed by him. You missed our anniversary, she said, her words barely above a whisper, her gaze fixed on the lipstick. Was that tonight, he said, shrugging, his voice devoid of guilt. Sorry, Wendy. It's just a day. He turned, heading for the bedroom, the door closing with a soft thud that echoed like a gavel. Wendy sat alone, the candlelight flickering across her face. Something shifted, not heartbreak. Not yet, but a crack in the facade she'd built to survive. She didn't cry. She reached for her phone, opened a notes app, and typed with trembling fingers. Tonight, I saw the truth, and I'm done pretending it's not there. The words stared back, a quiet rebellion, the first spark of a fire she didn't yet know she'd ignite. The morning after the ruined anniversary, Wendy woke to the faint buzz of Alex's electric razor echoing from the bathroom. The loft, with its white subway tiles and brass-accented charm, felt like a hollow shell, its warmth drained by the silence of unspoken truths. She lay still, staring at the exposed beams above, her journal entry from last night burning in her mind. Tonight, I saw the truth, and I'm done pretending it's not there. The words were a quiet rebellion, a spark she wasn't sure she could fan into flame. Her hand reached for Alex's side of the bed, finding only cold sheets. He'd slept in the guest room, muttering about a work call before retreating. The pink lipstick smudge inside his briefcase, the hotel keycard with its silver logo, lingered like ghosts in her thoughts, clues she couldn't unsee. In the kitchen, Wendy brewed coffee. The machines hiss a small anchor in the morning's unease. She wore a soft cream sweater, her shield against the day's uncertainty. Alex strode in, already in a crisp navy suit, scrolling at his phone with a focus that excluded her. Morning, he said, barely glancing up. The sharp, citrusy cologne from last night. Nothing like his usual pine hit her like a memory of betrayal. She gripped her mug, the ceramic warm against her palms, and steadied her breath. Early start, she asked, her tone neutral but probing, like a lawyer testing a witness. Big pitch today, he replied, snagging a granola bar from the pantry. Tech startup circling could be a game changer for the firm. His voice was upbeat, but his eyes darted away, avoiding hers. Wendy noticed his phone light up on the counter. See, Morgan drinks tonight, can't wait. Her stomach lurched, but she kept her expression smooth, years of masking pain making her a master at composure. Sounds like a lot on your plate, she said, sipping her coffee to hide the tremor in her hands. Good luck. He nodded, distracted, and was out the door before the coffee pot sputtered its last drop. Wendy stood frozen, the mug trembling slightly. See, Morgan. The name was a shard of glass, cutting deeper with every replay of that text. Can't wait. She didn't know who they were, but the intimacy wasn't innocent. The key card, the lipstick smudge, now this clue stacking like evidence in a trial she wasn't ready to face. Part of her wanted to call him, demand answers, scream until the loft's windows rattled, but a quieter, sharper voice whispered, don't react, watch, plan. At her marketing firm, the office hummed with a new campaign, but Wendy's mind was elsewhere. She sat in a glass-walled conference room, nodding through a brainstorming session, her thoughts circling C, Morgan, her co-worker, Mia, a sharp-witted graphic designer with a knack for noticing details, leaned over. You okay? When you're a million miles away. Wendy forced a smile, her lips tight. Just a rough night, she said, deflecting, but Maya's eyes lingered, unconvinced. Later, in the break room, Mia caught her by the Keurig. Look, I didn't want to stir things up, but I saw Alex last Thursday at the Heights, that rooftop bar downtown. He was with some woman in a red dress, way too close for business. I thought you should know. Mia's tone was gentle, but her words were a jolt, confirming what Wendy's gut had been screaming. Wendy's heart sank, but she nodded, her voice steady. Thanks, Mia. I appreciate you telling me. The confession was another piece of the puzzle, grounding her suspicions in reality. She excused herself, retreating to her office, where she opened her journal and wrote Mia saw him. Red dress, the Heights, it's real. I'm not imagining this. The pen shook, but the words anchored her, a tether to the truth she was beginning to face. Later that day, Wendy met Laura at a diner downtown, its retro vibe checkered floors, neon signs, a jukebox humming a Springsteen ballad, feeling like a slice of comfort in her unraveling world. Laura slid into the booth, her curly hair in a loose ponytail, her eyes narrowing as she studied Wendy's face. "You look like you're carrying a war zone," she said, tossing a menu aside. "Spill. What's going on?" Wendy traced the rim of her coffee cup, the words clawing at her throat. "It was our anniversary last night," she said finally. "Alex didn't show until 10, said he was with clients, but there was a lipstick smudge in his briefcase, a hotel keycard, and someone named C. Morgan texting him about drinks tonight. Then today, Mia said she saw him at the Heights with a woman in a red dress." Laura's jaw tightened, her fork pausing midair. Lipstick, a keycard, a woman. Wendy. That's not clients. That's a billboard screaming cheater. She leaned forward, her voice low but fierce. "How long are you going to keep playing house with a man who's checked out?" "I'm not playing," Wendy said, her voice cracking. I don't know how to let go." 10 years. Laura, we built a life this loft. Our plans. What if I confront him and he walks away? What if I'm left with nothing? Laura softened, reaching for Wendy's hand. "You'll never be nothing. You're Wendy Adele, the woman who pitched a campaign that landed a Fortune 500 client. You're not his shadow. Promise me you'll trust that gut of yours. It's screaming for a reason." Wendy nodded, her eyes stinging. Laura was right, she wasn't blind. The key card, the smudge, Mia's tip. The text each was a thread in a tapestry of betrayal. "I'm scared," she admitted, her voice barely audible. "What if I'm right?" "Then you're already stronger than him," Laura said, "because you're facing the truth he's dodging." That evening, Wendy sat alone in the loft, the city's glow filtering through the windows. A memory surfaced, sharp and unbidden. 3 years ago, Alex had returned from a conference, his jacket reeking of perfume, a receipt for a Napa winery tucked in his pocket. She'd confronted him, her voice shaking, and he'd brushed it off. "You're paranoid, Wendy." It was a group dinner. She'd let it go, desperate to believe him. Now, that memory was a warning she'd ignored. She opened her journal and wrote, "I believed his lies then. I won't now." Her phone pinged a work email, but it sparked an idea. She logged into their shared email account, something she hadn't touched in years. Most of it was junk, but one subject line froze her. "Next steps. C.M." The email, from Cynthia Morgan to Alex, was dated 10 days ago. "It's all set. She's clueless. Well, lock it in at the gala." Wendy's breath caught. The word was a knife, slicing through her doubt. The gala was tomorrow, a charity event for Alex's tech firm. She'd planned to skip it, exhausted by the role of the smiling wife. But now, she had a mission. The next evening, Wendy stood before her mirror, her reflection fierce in a deep sapphire dress, its bold hue a rebellion against the muted tones Alex preferred. Her hair was swept into a sleek updo, her lipstick a vibrant coral. If she was walking into a storm, she'd do it with fire. The gala, held in a hotel ballroom, shimmered with crystal chandeliers and power suits clinking champagne flutes. Wendy scanned the crowd, her pulse racing. Then she saw her. Cynthia Morgan was unmistakable, tall, poised, in a crimson gown that clung like a second skin. She stood too close to Alex, her laugh sharp and practiced, her hand brushing his sleeve, their heads bent together, intimate, as if the world didn't exist. Wendy's chest tightened, but she held her ground. Cynthia's eyes flicked toward her for a moment, her smile smug, almost taunting, as if she knew she'd won. Wendy overheard Cynthia's voice, low but clear. "Soon. Baby, we won't have to hide. It's all coming together." The words were a punch, but Wendy didn't flinch. She cataloged every detail. Cynthia's confident smirk, Alex's easy nod, the way their shoulders touched. She didn't confront them. Instead, she slipped into the crowd, her sapphire dress a shadow, and found a quiet corner. Her phone was out, her fingers typing a journal entry. "Tonight, I saw her. She thinks she's claimed him. But this isn't her story, it's mine." Back home, Wendy dug deeper. A search for Cynthia Morgan, PR executive, led to a LinkedIn profile, a rising star at Alex's firm, her bio polished with ambition. Her Instagram was a louder tell photos of rooftop bars, designer clutches, captions like, ready for the big leagues. One post showed a sapphire necklace, its price tag matching a $2, $500 charge on their credit card. One Alex had dismissed as a work expense. The pieces clicked the key card, the lipstick, the text, the necklace. This wasn't just an affair, it was a calculated campaign. She called Laura, her voice steady. I need a private investigator. Can you get me a contact? Laura didn't hesitate. Hell yeah. Who are we burying, Alex? Wendy said, and Cynthia Morgan. By week's end, Wendy met Sarah, a no-nonsense PI with a leather jacket and a knack for unearthing secrets. At a quiet cafe, Sarah slid a folder across the table. Your husband's been busy, she said, her tone matter of fact. Cynthia's not just his side piece. They've got a secret account, funded by loans in your name, no signature from you. That's fraud. Wendy. Wendy flipped through the folder: bank statements, loan documents, photos of Alex and Cynthia at the hotel from the keycards logo, their hands entwined. Her name, Wendy Adele, stared back from forged signatures, tying her to a $500,000 debt she never approved. The betrayal was no longer just emotional, it was legal, a theft of her identity. How long? Wendy asked, her voice low. At least a year, Sarah said. They're betting you won't fight back. Wendy closed the folder, her jaw tight. They're wrong. That night, she followed Alex, not out of desperation but strategy. She parked across from the Heights, the rooftop bar Mia had mentioned, its string lights twinkling against the skyline. Through the glass, she saw them, Alex and Cynthia, laughing, his hand grazing her cheek before a soft, familiar kiss. The sight didn't shatter her. It sharpened her. She snapped a photo, her hand steady, and drove home, the city lights blurring past. In the loft, Wendy opened her journal, her pen moving with purpose. He thinks I'm blind. She thinks I'm weak. They're both wrong. This isn't about love anymore. It's about truth. She paused, then added, and I'm going to make sure the world sees it. Wendy sat at her desk in the loft, the city's glow casting long shadows across the hardwood floor. The folder from Sarah, the private investigator, lay open like a battle map: bank statements, forged loan agreements, photos of Alex and Cynthia entwined in a hotel lobby, their hands clasped under the glare of a neon sign. Her name. Wendy Adele stared back from signatures she never wrote, tethering her to a $500,000 debt for a tech startup hemorrhaging money. The email from Cynthia Morgan. It's all set. She's clueless. Well, lock it in at the gala, echoed in her mind, its meaning now stark, a calculated scheme to plunder her identity and future. The pink lipstick smudge in Alex's briefcase, the hotel keycard, Mia's tip about the woman in the red dress at the Heights, the Napa winery receipt from years ago. The C, Morgan Tech's each clue had converged here, exposing a betrayal that wasn't just a broken vow, but a meticulously orchestrated crime. She met Jordan, a lawyer with a steady gaze and a mind like a scalpel, in his glass-walled office overlooking the city skyline. He pored over Sarah's evidence, his fingers tracing the forged signatures. This is airtight fraud. Wendy, he said, his voice calm but edged with urgency. Alex used your name to secure loans for his startups, suggesting $500. Serve £1,000 you're legally tied to. Cynthia co-signed several transfers as a silent partner. She's not just his mistress. She's his accomplice in a financial scam. Wendy's hands tightened, her nail biting into her palm. But her voice was forged in weeks of quiet fury. He didn't just betray me. He stole my life, my name, my security, everything I worked for. Jordan leaned forward, his eyes locking onto hers. We can file for annulment, not divorce. Fraud nullifies the marriage contract from the start. With this evidence, documents, photos, that email, your recorded argument, we can clear your name and push for criminal charges. Forgery, wire fraud, maybe more. But this is a high-stakes play. Alex and Cynthia are counting on you staying quiet, and they might push back hard. Are you in? Wendy exhaled, the weight of 10 years shifting like a fault line. She thought of the Napa receipt, how she'd swallowed Alex's lies, and the lipstick smudge that had shattered her denial. I don't want revenge, she said, her voice low but resolute. I want justice for me and anyone else they've scammed. Let's make this count. Jordan nodded, sliding a legal pad across the desk. Then we'll build a case they can't dodge. Every document, every photo, every word they thought you'd miss. And Wendy, your entrance needs to be a statement. This isn't just a courtroom, it's a stage. Wendy knew exactly what he meant. This was her chance to reclaim her voice from the man who tried to erase it. She called Elite Limousine Services, her tone unwavering. I need a black stretch limousine, courthouse drop-off. Next Friday morning, polished, sleek, impossible to ignore. The operator confirmed, it'll stop traffic. Ma'am, Wendy hung up, picturing Alex's face when she arrived, his smugness crumbling like ash. Laura, over a bottle of Merlot that night, raised her glass. You're not just walking into court. Wendy, you're rolling in like a queen, and I'm living for it. Wendy spent the week preparing with the precision of a strategist, her journal filled with entries that mapped her resolve, each word a step toward freedom. He thinks I'm a ghost. I'm about to be a storm. She anonymously tipped off Riley Carter, a tech journalist with a reputation for exposing corporate fraud, attaching key documents from Sarah's folder loan agreements, wire transfers, Cynthia's co-signed forms, the damning email. Riley's knack for viral expos made her the perfect ally to amplify Wendy's truth. Wendy chose a beige silk gown, its elegant flow both soft and fierce, and a silver pendant from her first major client pitch, a reminder of the woman she was before Alex dimmed her light. Mia texted, heard you're taking him down in court. Slay, girl. Wendy smiled, her purpose sharpening. She wasn't just fighting for herself, she was fighting for every woman who'd been underestimated. Thursday night, Wendy stood before her mirror, the gown draped over a chair. She traced the pendant's curve. Her reflection no longer the wife who'd waited by a cold dinner. Her journal lay open, a final entry in bold ink, tomorrow. I don't just face him. I rewrite the story he thought he'd control. She slept deeply, the weight of her plan grounding her like a lighthouse in a gale. Friday morning, the courthouse steps thrummed with reporters, their cameras flashing like a paparazzi storm. A black limousine, sleek as a panther, cut through the crowd, its tinted windows sparking whispers, who's inside? The chauffeur opened the door, and Wendy emerged, her beige silk gown glowing like a beacon, her heels striking the pavement with the precision of a war drum. Her face was a mask of calm fury, her eyes promising a reckoning. Alex, fidgeting with his cufflinks beside Cynthia, froze, his face draining of color. Wendy, what the hell is this? He stammered, his voice raw with panic. Cynthia, in a navy blazer and oversized sunglasses, hissed, she's got nothing. She's bluffing. Wendy didn't glance at them. She nodded to Jordan, who appeared with a leather briefcase, his expression steely. She walked past, her jasmine and defiant scent trailing like a challenge. Reporters swarmed, shouting, Ms. Adele, is this about the divorce? A young woman tweeted. Wendy Adele just rolled up like a boss. Hashtag Wendy wins. The hashtag surged, a spark igniting online. Inside, the courtroom was packed, the air heavy with anticipation. Wendy took her seat, spine straight, hands folded calmly. Across the aisle, Alex shifted nervously, his tie askew, whispering to Cynthia, whose sunglasses now perched on her head, revealing eyes darting with unease. The judge, a stern woman with silver streaks and a piercing gaze, entered, her gavel cracking like thunder. Order, she commanded. We're here for Roberts versus Roberts, but I understand there is a motion. Jordan stood, his presence commanding. Your Honor, we're filing for annulment, not divorce, on grounds of fraudulent inducement. This marriage was a facade, built on forged signatures, stolen funds, and deliberate deception. The room buzzed, reporters leaning forward. Alex shot up, face flushed. She's lying. This is a stunt. The judge's glare cut him down. Sit, Mr. Roberts, or you'll be removed. Wendy rose, her voice steady but electric, each word a blade honed by pain. This wasn't a marriage. It was a Alex used my name to secure loans I never approved. My trust to mask his schemes. He and Miss Von Morgan built a fraud that stole my identity and endangered my future. I'm here to avoid a lie and reclaim my truth. Cynthia's composure cracked. Her nails dug into her purse. Her whisper sharp. You said shed sign and walk away. Alex hissed. Shut up. Jordan handed the clerk a thick file, then connected a speaker to his tablet. We have evidence, he said, pressing play. Alex's voice filled the room, smug and damning, recorded during an argument Wendy had baited weeks ago. You think you're so smart. Wendy, I've been playing you for years. The loans, the accounts, you'll never figure it out. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Reporters typed furiously. Hashtag Wendy wins trending alongside tech scandal. The judge's brow rose as she reviewed the file bank statements, forged loans, hotel photos matching the keycard's logo, the email tying Cynthia to the plan. These are grave allegations, the judge said, her tone heavy. Well recessed to review this evidence thoroughly. Wendy locked eyes with Alex, her gaze unwavering. You thought I'd break, she said softly, her voice carrying only to him. You forgot I was rebuilding. As the crowd dispersed, a reporter cornered Cynthia in the hallway. Miss Morgan, any comment on the fraud? Cynthia shoved past, her sunglasses slipping, her face raw with dread, moment caught on camera, going viral within minutes. During the recess, Jordan pulled Wendy into a quiet alcove, his voice low and urgent. Sarah dug deeper. It's bigger than we thought. Alex and Cynthia were part of a tight-knit scheme. The startup was a shell, funneling investor funds to offshore accounts for 5 key players. Alex, Cynthia, 2 board members, and a venture capitalist. The DA's moving fast. Thanks to your evidence, Wendy's breath caught, her mind reeling. 5 people, how deep does this go? Deep enough to shake the tech world, Jordan said. Your tip to Riley Carter. Her Tech Insider Expos just dropped. And it's viral/tech frauds neck and neck with hashtag Wendy wins. A clip of Cynthia's exit sunglasses falling. Face raw was looping online, racking up millions of views. Influencers who hyped her glam life are posting apologies. And memes of Alex's outburst. Captioned, when your scam gets exposed, air flooding Twitter. Wendy checked her phone, hands trembling. Riley's article. Tech darlings, dirty secrets, a fraud empire unraveled. Name the 5 conspirators, citing her leaked documents. Twitter roared. Wendy Adele took down a scam empire. She hadn't just exposed a cheater. She'd shattered a fraud ring that had fleeced investors and employees. Her journal held a new entry. Scrawled during a break, they tried to bury me. They forgot I was the seed. The judge returned, her expression stern, based on the evidence, forged documents, recorded admissions, financial records. I'm granting the annulment. The marriage of Wendy Adele and Alexander Roberts is null and void, effective immediately. The courtroom buzzed, reporters leaning forward. Furthermore, the fraud allegations, including evidence of a broader scheme, are forwarded to the district attorney for criminal investigation. Alex buried his face in his hands, shoulders shaking. Cynthia had bolted, her heels clattering in the hallway, the viral clip of her exit sealing her disgrace. Wendy stood, her voice clear. Your Honor, I waited for the truth, not just for myself, but for anyone they have harmed. This isn't about spite, it's about accountability. The judge nodded, a flicker of respect in her eyes. You've done a service. Ms. Adele, this court sees you. Alex lunged forward, voice breaking. Wendy, please, my business. My life, it's all gone. The judge's gavel slammed. Mr. Roberts, your empire was built on lies. Sit down. Wendy met his eyes one last time. You thought I'd fall apart, she said quietly. You forgot who I was before you broke me. 3 weeks later, the annulment was finalized in a quiet courtroom. The media frenzy now focused on the fraud scandal. No reporters, no Cynthia, just Alex, slumped beside a frazzled lawyer, and Wendy, serene beside Jordan. The judge's words sealed it. The marriage is null and void. Ms. Adele is cleared of all fraudulent debts, her record restored. Wendy closed her eyes. A decade's weight lifting like mist from a dawn sky. Jordan whispered, you're free. She nodded, a single tear tracing her cheek, not grief, But release, Alex's startup collapsed, its assets frozen as federal investigators indicted the five conspirators, sparked by Riley's expose. His name, once at a tech darlings, was now a synonym for scandal. Headlined in Forbes as Fraud King Falls, Cynthia vanished, her Instagram scrubbed, her influencer deals canceled as hashtag tech fraud haunted her. Sources reported she'd fled to a small town, her glossy persona erased. Wendy won a settlement from Alex's remaining assets, enough to rebuild. She moved into a sunny townhouse, its coral walls a defiant rejection of Alex's beige tastes. She chopped her hair into a pixie cut, grinning at her reflection. This is me. The townhouse was hers vibrant art, a cozy reading nook, a kitchen where she baked lemon scones for Laura and Sarah. Wendy launched Rewritten, a podcast sharing her story and others' journeys through betrayal. It soared to the charts. A listener commenting, Wendy, your story got me out of a toxic job. You're my hero. She founded Unbound, a nonprofit for women escaping financial abuse. At its launch, in a packed community center, Wendy spoke in her sapphire dress. No one should lose their name to a lie. Your truth is your power, claim it. The crowd roared, many weeping, their faces mirroring her journey. Laura and Sarah became her chosen family. Over coffee, Sarah grinned. You didn't just win, you rewrote the rules. Laura raised her mug. To women who rise, a spark with Jordan quiet dinners, shared laughs hinted at possibilities. But Wendy's focus was herself, savoring her own company. One evening, she walked through a park, spring blooms perfuming the air. A girl chased a butterfly, giggling, and Wendy sat on a bench under a dogwood, her journal open. She wrote, I forgave myself for the nights I waited, for the lies I swallowed in Napa, for the silence I wore. I thanked myself for the gala, where I saw the truth, for the recording, where I reclaimed my voice, for the courtroom, where I stood unbroken. I built Unbound to lift others, and now I begin again. Whole, enough, alive. Her phone buzzed, Mia. Your podcast is fire. Badass. Wendy smiled, her heart full, no longer a wife, but herself. Wendy's story isn't just drama, it's a blueprint for anyone who's felt erased. Watching her go from a silent dinner, clinging to a fading love, to a courthouse throne, wielding her truth, hit me like lightning. She didn't scream or burn it all down. She built a new path with a journal, a limousine, and a truth that toppled an empire. That recording, the viral expos, the hashtag Wendy wins wave, they weren't just wins. They were her reclaiming her name, her power, her life, what I love most. She didn't stop at saving herself. She shattered a scam, giving voice to every soul silenced by greed. If you're trapped in a story that's breaking you, take it from Wendy. You don't have to stay. Start small, a note, a call, a step. Your truth is louder than their lies. Drop a comment. What moment gave you chills? Share a time you rose from betrayal. Your story could spark someone's fire. Hit like, subscribe, and tag a friend who needs Wendy's light. She's not just a name, she's a blaze, and it's spreading. Betrayal can shatter you, but your truth can rebuild you. Choose yourself, choose justice, choose a future that's yours. Tell us below. What's one truth you've claimed to rewrite your story, like Wendy, or share a time you rose from betrayal? Your story could inspire someone. Hit like, subscribe, and tag a friend who needs Wendy's fire. Let's spread this blaze.